I want to just ask a question today as we prepare to hear from the Word. And my question is, who are you? Who are you? Now, I heard somebody like, I'm a child of God. That's great, awesome. I want to just ask you though, if you were to say the right answer, I am a child of God. I want everybody to say that together. I'm a child of God. All right, one more time and say it like if you actually believe it, say, I'm a child of God. Good. I think that's every voice in here. That's good. If you're not a child of God yet, before you leave, make sure you talk to one of us. We'll make sure that you know that you know. Or if there's any doubt, make sure that we talk about that. A lot of times we'll talk about, do you know what it means to be a child of God? And for much of my life, I kind of had this frame of reference that's like, I'm loved by the Father. And that's true. That's a great place to start. If you're a child of God, you're loved beyond measure, beyond comparison by the Father. Absolutely. But I want us to think about something here for a minute. I want you to imagine with me that you grew up with a sense of being loved by the Father. So like imagine that this is your family. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But regardless, for the sake of this conversation today, imagine that you grew up in a family and you were loved, you were cherished, you were given everything that you needed. You knew that you were loved. You had no doubts about that. It was a healthy home. Imagine that you grow up and you get out on your own and you start to get these ideas of like, here's what I would like to do. I don't know how I'm going to make it work, but I'd like to either start this business or do this or whatever it is that your idea is. And I want you to imagine that you get these ideas and you're passionate about it, but you don't know exactly how it's going to work. And I want you to imagine you get a call from your father, and the call goes something like this, like, hey, this would be a great time. I want to let you know I'm really proud of you. I see what you've become. This would probably be a good time for me to let you know we really didn't tell you as you were growing up, but we're actually billionaires. And so if you need something to kind of help get started, just let me know, because I got you. Now, obviously, you're loved, but does it change a little bit when you know that you have now unlimited resources to pursue the things that you feel are on your heart? Or imagine this scenario. Imagine you're growing up and you decide to kind of learn and you're in a family that they don't really talk about themselves too much. You grow up and you're loved. You're given everything that you needed. Love, support, encouragement, provision, whatever it is. And then one day, when you're starting to come of age, you discover that both your mother and your father have Olympic medals. If it were me, I would start to ask questions like, what is actually in my DNA that's possible for me? If they did that, what's in my DNA? Today, what I want to simply talk about is this. There are some things in each of our DNA as children of God that I think it's time for us to fully discover who He's created us to be and what all He's given us. And in this passage in Ephesians 1, this is a letter written by Paul to this church in the first century. And by the way, especially if you're young in the faith, those who got baptized last week, this is a good one for you if you haven't already started somewhere else. If you're young in the faith, Ephesians is a great book of the Bible to read if you're trying to figure out who you are. Because right from the top of the letter, Paul's like, hey, this is who you are. This is who you used to be. This is what God's doing. This is who He's called you to be. Like all the way through the letter, it's just like, this is who you are. Got the Lion King in my head. Remember who you are. But no, that's it. I mean, we talked about that a little bit last year, where it's like, if your father's a king, you don't need to be hanging out with the bug eaters, right? If your father's a king, there's something reflected in you that has been given some measure of authority, and it's time for us to take that authority as God's heirs. So we're going to read Ephesians. We're going to read a lot of verses. And if you don't get anything else out of this morning, if you kind of like you worshiped your heart out and now you're just exhausted and you don't got much left in the tank, Just pay attention at least to this next part where we're reading the scripture, okay? This is the good part.